I agree.
On the front end to actually make it more rigorous or difficult for people to get involved in the first place.
I agree 1,000%. Absolutely correct. Now, Tim, you pastored for 20 plus years in the church, so I'm sure you've probably counseled tons of couples, right?
Thousands.
So thousands of couples. So when you're dealing with these couples, what roles did the men and women occupy that you would say would be most conducive to a successful marriage?
Biblically,
okay,
the man is the head of the woman. The biggest misconception is that the man is the head of the house. I'm talking this from a faith standpoint as a believer in Jesus. I am not the head of my household. I'm the head of my wife. Christ is the head of the house. So we both answer to him, right? And me being submitted to Christ is why my wife can be submitted to me. Like one of the Ephesians 5 has been one of the most abused texts to try to get women to submit to men, right? Women need to submit to men, and men are the head of the house. And it's like, that's not in the Bible. Christ is the head of the home. The man is the head of the wife. And if I have never, you would be hard pressed to find a man that is submitted to Jesus and has a woman that won't be submitted to him.
Ooh. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I think women might even be offended to hear the words head of his wife.
I understand that.
I think that's offensive.
Submit in general.
Now, I want to know what that looks like. What does it look like for a man to be the head of his wife?
All it means is that, literally, I'm going to be regular, degular, basic, okay? All that means is that the man was here first and then the woman came. God created man first. He breathed into him the breath of life. Then he laid him down and pulled out a piece of Adam and formed the woman. And then he brought the woman to the man. That's all that means. The man was here first.
So it's not a role aspect to it? Like, it's not you being the head, that doesn't give you any... So it's not a role aspect to it? Like, it's not you being the head, that doesn't give you any additional responsibility?
Well, I think the responsibility of the man being first comes down to the buck stopping with him, quote unquote, right? So at the end of the day, I do believe that there is more responsibility on the man in God's eyes, the male man, okay, in God's eyes, than it is the woman. This is not a superiority thing. It's just an order thing. The man was here first, and then the woman was here, right? And so, and I believe that they are co-equals before the fall. I believe they have shared responsibilities, but there are things that God gave the man to do in his male body that he did not give the woman to do in her female body, and vice versa. It's the reason why men do not have babies. Point blank, period. There are bearded men that have babies that have transgendered. They crossed over genders, but they still have a womb because their chromosomes say double X. They're a woman at their DNA level. They can express themselves as a man, but I've seen a bearded man with a belly. That's because
no way
it was a woman. It's a woman.
Never seen that before.
Who transgendered. Yeah, you can Google it. It's interesting.
Some 2023 shit going on.
Yeah, it is. So I don't want that to sound like superiority, and that's where a lot of women really fall out with church and the Bible, and really fall out with church and the Bible, and a lot of things. But God ordered things for a reason, and when we respect the order, things are beautiful. Things are beautiful, but Juliet don't have no problem submitting to me because I'm submitted to Christ. I don't tell her what to do, and she don't tell me what to do. We are collaborators in life. This is me outside of me. So my wife, I'm actually one flesh with my wife. This is my person. Juliet is me outside of me, looking back at me, talking to me. That's how much she's me. That she is, if you ever wanted a complete sentence from me, you got to talk to me and her. Then you would know the full truth about me. And if you ever wanted the full truth about her, you would have to hear from her and me, because we are one. So there's beauty in that, and that beauty has been bludgeoned. the rapper in me that has to make stuff alliterate, and the preacher in me that has to. But that beauty has been bludgeoned by misogynistic views, men that are insecure in their masculinity, men that feel like they have to dominate, and a woman can't have a voice. You really don't find that in Scripture, and that's not what the Bible is trying to promote. And so for me, I just feel like if people got back to that order and they embraced that, their lives would be amazing. Their children would be at peace in a way that there's so many studies that show that when there is a father and a mother in a home who love each other, intrinsically it brings peace to children's nervous systems. Nobody said nothing. They just know mommy and daddy love each other. They couldn't articulate it if you asked them, hey, what it is about your mom and dad that you love? Mommy and daddy love each other. There's peace in this home. I feel safe. I feel protected. Therefore, my neural system is at rest. My environment is not scary. People need safety. And when they don't have safety, that's when they cope. So when I did premarital counseling, I was always telling people, get the premise and the foundation of your relationship right. When I did premarital counseling, the first time we meet, say you came in with your girlfriend, right? You came in with your girlfriend. Hey, we want premarital counseling. Okay, cool. It's going to be a minimum of 4 weeks. It might be 6. It could be longer, depending on what we get into. First thing I want you to know is you can't have sex until you get married. I don't care if you've had sex before. You're now in this office. You can't have sex again until you get married.
I'm out of here.
That changes things.
I'm like, yeah, we gonna find another one, baby. This one ain't gonna work.
And let me tell you why you would run out the office. Because as soon as you stop having sex, you'll find out what's really in that person's mind and their emotions. Most people that have sex and try to go through any kind of counseling, they write off red flags as hot pink. Because your bodies are already involved.
Right.
Stuff hit different when you ain't having sex.
This is my personal opinion. I don't think a man, if sex was completely off the table, I don't think men would deal with half the shit that they deal with when it comes to women that they're dealing with that they really don't like. If sex was completely off the table, it's just like a man is gonna walk away from that situation if he's not feeling that woman. But if sex is on the table, boy, it's some shit that you would deal with.
No more nut high.
Yeah. Well, and vice versa.
Yeah.
How many women are dealing with trash niggas because it's good dick?
That's facts.
So take sex off the table, and then let's have a conversation about your mouth. Not what that mouth do. What the hell?
Hold on, what the hell?
You see what I'm saying?
Like, hold on, you switching it up on us.
Not what that mouth do. Why does that keep coming out of your mouth? Exactly. Why do you cut me down every time I confront you? Confrontation is healthy. Shouldn't be hostile. How come you call me out of my name every time I tell you to pick up behind yourself? I'm a man, nigga. You ain't gonna tell me what to do. I can't tell you how many couples use sex in lieu of communication.
Interesting.
That's how they make up. They don't use words. They use their bodies. So when they come into my office and I say, you cannot have sex again until you're married. Once they get over that, because I ask them subsequently every session, have you had sex?
That makes sense because you would think as long as we having sex, the problems must not be that bad.
That's exactly right. And for that dopamine high to go off in your head, they ain't that bad. If I'm gonna get a good nut out of this, I will deal with your mouth for 2.5 more days. And then you're gonna suck me off? Well, guess what? Your mouth is a blessing and a curse. You manipulate me. You actually control me with sex sometimes. Well, guess what? Ain't high to go off in your head? They ain't that bad. If I'm gonna get a good nut out of this, I will deal with your mouth for 2.5 more days. But then you're gonna suck me off? Well, guess what? Your mouth is a blessing and a curse.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm dealing with this, but you take it off the table, and then I have to realize this person is emasculating me as a man. You gaslight me. You manipulate me. You actually control me with sex sometimes. Based on my behavior, you either not giving it up or giving it up. And I'm not talking about you're at an impasse communicatively. I'm just talking about true manipulation. You didn't buy me this. You didn't let me go here. You said something I didn't like. I'm not going to talk to you for 4 days. And then, okay, nigga, come. I'll let you come back. That's manipulation. That's witchcraft. I'm not dealing with you.
Okay, so let me ask you this, because if that happens, okay, and the man is in that situation where he has been emasculated, would you agree that it may not have always been like that, and maybe he did some things?
Oh, absolutely correct.
Okay.
And this is why I don't think people can resolve their own issues.
Got you.
You take your teeth to the dentist. You take your car to the mechanic. It's true manipulation. You didn't buy me this. You didn't let me go here. You said something I didn't like. I'm not going to talk to you for 4 days. And then, okay, nigga, come. I'll let you come back. That's manipulation. That's witchcraft. I'm not dealing with you.
Okay, so let me ask you this, because if that happens, okay, and the man is in that situation where he has been emasculated, would you agree that it may not have always been like that, and maybe he did some things to contribute to?
Oh, absolutely correct.
Okay.
And this is why I don't think people can resolve their own issues.
Got you.
You take your teeth to the dentist. You take your car to the mechanic. You take your hair to the barber. But you ain't going to take your relationship to a counselor? I don't need to talk to nobody about that. What that fool going to tell me that I don't already know? He a man just like me.
That sounds like a typical Negro.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
Right.
Ego,
pride,
absolutely,
and all the other
fully
things.
raging, fam.
And let me tell you, we actually had quoted here, man. So I got to wrap it up, but I don't want to leave without asking you this, because I really got a lot.
This episode's going to be fire. Y'all know that, right?
Right. Let me
This
tell you something.
episode
This thing
Look,
is going to.
I'm already making plans in my mind. I'm like, we need to have him on every quarter, 4 times a year.
Don't worry, y'all. We're gonna get him again. We just can't give you too much right now.
Right.
We can't give you too much. Because of the state that we in now, and you as a marriage counselor, obviously you have a mandatory minimum that somebody needs to go through marriage counseling. I want to ask two things. One, how long do you think that a man should healthily vet his woman on just give a roundabout number for the everyday guy, if you can, just try to set a rule if you can, for a guy to vet his woman before they get married, and what are some mandatory minimums that couples need to do prior to moving into marriage to ensure that they're dealing with the right person?
Great question. So I would say, first off, I think 365 days is a great rule, because you get to see people in all 4 seasons, right? Not just naturally, but emotionally, spiritually, relationally. There's 4 seasons to a relationship. The first season is spring, right? Everything's new. Oh my God, I got this girl's number. Oh my God, she look good. It's springtime, right? Everything's. Then summer hits and it's all passionate, right? It's hot and steamy. She wore the homie. You should have saw her in the dress, and then she was like, "Oh no, he had on the sweats, and I saw that print, and I'm like, I know this gonna be good." Right? You know what I mean? And then, but you get to fall. When you get to fall, everything changes. How do they act when things change? When you don't text back instantly. The phone was on airplane mode because you had to do a pod. You didn't call me. I blew your phone up. You probably got some other hoe at the house. And it's like, so you got jealousy in you. You see stuff when seasons change. You don't see too much in spring and summer. Fall is when you start seeing stuff change. And then winter, stuff gets cold. It don't feel good. You're either gonna buy a sweater, you're gonna layer up, or that's when most people end the relationship. Because they don't actually think it's 4 seasons. They think they live in Miami. They actually think they live in the Caribbean.
It's gonna be the same way.
Yeah. It's gonna be 80 degrees, and except for like a violent hurricane that comes maybe once or twice, we should be 80 degrees all year long. No, it gets cold up in this relationship, and so we either gonna layer up and then get back to spring, or we're gonna break up and find spring again with somebody else, and that's where that. You never get nobody that actually goes through the 4 seasons. Okay, so I say a year If you don't listen, I can order food faster, buy a car faster, buy a house faster than most people get through relationships before they want to commit. It makes no damn sense. I'm sorry. No disrespect to this generation or whatever, but how the hell you don't know after 5 years? We still dating. It just ain't. Come on, dog. You done bought a house by that time. You done changed 3 jobs. You know what I'm saying? Took 2 promotions. Took 8 trips, and you still don't know if this is the one you want to rock with forever. Go through premarital counseling. Please go through premarital counseling, and then after you get married, post-marital, 2 to 4 times a year. If things are going great, cool. There's no cavities, right? I went to the dentist. I'm flossing right, and I'm brushing my teeth like I should. I don't have no cavities. But you don't know if you don't go in.
You still go.
You still go, fam. Right? And if there's nothing there, cool. But if you're there at the right time, then you'll know, hey, you got a little gum formation thing happening. It's receding right here. And last time we did a cleaning, there was your gums bled too much. We want to check that out or whatever. Regular maintenance. So I say for people to get married, I'm talking within 6 months, go in for a checkup. Maintenance. You would never drive a car off the lot and drive it for 200,000 miles without getting an oil change. That would never happen in the history of ever. So my advice to people is don't wait till there's smoke coming from under the hood. Take it in every 3 months or 6,000 miles. Just check.
Preventative maintenance.
Preventative maintenance, man.
I'm down with it.
Absolutely, because there's changes and shifts that are happening, and you need a arbitrary third party that can just be neutral and be like, I understand what you're saying, and then interpret sometimes. Hey, I know every time she says this, it sounds to you like this, and you get pissed, but really what she's saying is she misses you. You be in there like, is that all you was trying to say? Yeah, baby, I just miss you. And y'all niggas hugging, and it's like, it's dope. It's dope. But I love, Juliet and I love getting counseling, even after almost 24 years. And we still like occasionally sitting down with a couple and just helping them tweak. Because most people that think they're on the verge of divorce, most studies say within 24 to 36 months from that point that they think they're on the verge, they're usually back in spring or summer.
Y'all, I'm going to be honest with you. If you watch this, you probably just saved yourself from getting divorced.
I promise you.